Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Tea with me, Tracy V. Allen of TVA Consulting. We have with us a special guest who I think is going to really transform the way you think, the way you approach life altogether today, right?
Yeah.
Because she is a confident strategist. And that is something I know for a fact that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, um, need is confidence. I myself went through a point where I thought that, oh, I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't want to approach people. You're always concerned about what other people think. And it's not because you don't have self esteem, it's just because the fear of rejection is real. Okay. It is real. And as soon as we decide to be honest about that, we'll be a lot better off because I'm telling you, hearing no, now I'm immune to hearing no, but initially, no hit me hard. Like no would stop me, like
Yeah.
in my tracks, and I would digress for a while. And then, so it was almost like I was starting over my business because one no would be okay, nobody wants to do what nobody wants what I'm offering. Nobody wants to do what I need them to do in order for me to get to the next level. So getting that confidence, that unstoppable confidence is golden. Okay. So my guest today is Regina Robinson, the confidence strategist. And that's why today's title is The Unstoppable Confidence. Regina, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the morning tea. Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me. I am excited to be here with you. I am, again, Regina Robinson. I'm your Inner Confidence Strategist. I am the founder of the movement Unstoppable Woman on the Move. And literally, my goal is to help women to unpack, unlock, and embrace, most importantly, the gifts and the talents that God has deposited in you. Be unapologetic about it. Show up in your power and make sure you shine your high beams so that others can see who you are, what you're doing, and how you're impacting and changing the world. We have a lot to offer, but most often we hide it underneath the surface when it is tapping and scratching to get out and share with the world. So
I love that. I absolutely love that because that is so true. Because even this show, I have wanted to do this forever, right? But that voice in
yes.
the back of my head kept preventing me from doing it. Maybe not just lack of confidence that I wasn't sure I could do it because I knew I could, but
Mhm.
it was just that voice in the back of your head saying, this needs to be done this way. Oh, you're not ready for this because this is not in place. You're not ready for that. So you're looking for this perfection
Yes.
instead of actually moving because you have
Yes.
that voice. I like to call, what we call it, the devil and the angel. The
Mm-hmm.
devil was speaking a little harder
Louder,
and the
louder.
angel, yeah, the angel was. So it just kept you stuck. And I find that lack of confidence or the lack of confidence can really keep you stuck in a place that is stifling,
Yes. And then
literally stifling. So
and
when I
then it's
started this, let me
perfection.
give you oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Oh,
when
no,
I
no, no.
started this,
All right.
someone actually reached out to me and asked me, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So now you're a talk show host? I was like, I have many talents. Why can't I do more than one thing? Why are you trying to put me in a box? Why do I just have to be a nonprofit strategist? I used to be a teacher. So I'm not a teacher anymore. I moved on to something else. Can I not keep moving? Can I not try my hands at the things that I feel that are passionate to me, that are speaking to me? Like everybody talks about God giving them, talking to them. If that's what I'm hearing that I need to do, why can't I do it? If I only do this for 6 months, then I do this for six
That's
months. I would
right.
love to continue to do it for a very long time. But if 6 months is the run of this program, then it's 6 months. At least I can say, check, I've done it. So anyway, I know that you two were a teacher. So why don't you tell us about your journey from education into entrepreneurship?
So I was a teacher for high school students for about 8 years. I
Mhm.
taught high school level on business courses inside high schools. And about my seventh year in, I started my business part time. And so my business was originally a college planning services for high school students. That was the
Mhm.
business I birthed. And the next year, my boss was like, we love you here. So the education system was getting major hits. I worked at a school where I brought a program to the school. Wasn't necessarily they needed the program. So the next year, my principal says, we love you here. You're doing an amazing job. We just don't have the funding for your position anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I literally went from being a full-time teacher to overnight becoming a full-time entrepreneur. And so what I know is oftentimes we will run from what we've been asking for. You got to just be careful what you ask for. So I have been praying like, God, I get up every day and I go and I raise other people's children. But when I come home, I'm depleted to raise my own daughter. I'm exhausted. I'm tired, And so literally within that time frame, he switched it and shifted things. Mm-hmm. And literally I felt like, okay, well, wait a minute, God, we can kind of talk about this. But listen, he doesn't have to warn us. He's already prepared us. He's already equipped us. He's already given us everything we need. And so I had everything I needed to go from being a part-time entrepreneur to a full-time entrepreneur. Did I believe it at the time? Was I afraid at the time? Was there so many unknowns at the time? Mm-hmm. Yes. But those unknowns, those fears, those doubts kept pushing me because I knew at the end of the day, I had to survive and I had to feed my daughter. And so 12 years later, I am still a full-time entrepreneur.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And I totally agree with what you say, because I went through that too. As an educator, I was depleted when I came home. My kids said my speaking voice was shout.
Yeah.
So I was constantly shouting. They said when I stopped, and I mean, this is coming from my kids. They said, when you stop teaching, not that we didn't love you before, but we loved you more. Because you weren't shouting all the time. Yeah. You were talking to us, but I just did not have the patience or the bandwidth when I came home. I just wanted quiet. I've been talking all day. And as an introvert, that's a lot for me. So when I get home, I'm tired because I'm performing. That's what I used to call my job. I was performing because I have to be animated. I have to be jovial. I mean, it took a lot out of me. And especially when you're dealing with kids who are just, difficult, right?
Absolutely.
So you go home and then you have your own kids and you want to love on them and you want to, but it's hard. Yes. A teacher's job is not easy. And I wish that I think now a lot of parents are beginning to realize that.
Absolutely.
It's not easy, right? So how did you start the Unstoppable Confidence movement?
So about I would say now it's been about 5 years. So about 4.5 to 5 years ago, I went on a journey of discovery. And so like most women would say, if you probably ask everyone listening to this live right now, do they believe they're confident? Everyone would probably say yes. However, that's an outer surface confidence. Mm-hmm. But when you dig deep on the inside, does your inside confidence match your outer confidence? Because the outer is temporary. The makeup, the pretty hairstyle, everything that you have on the outside, the nice clothes, all of that, when you take that off and look in the mirror, do you love who you see back? Are you happy with what you see back? And what I realized that I had come to a point in my life where I was saving everyone else and, helping everyone else, that I forgot all about saving and helping me.
Wow.
And so literally God sent me on a discovery to learn myself again, to discover myself, to start loving myself, to start believing in myself. And literally that's where the Unstoppable Woman movement birthed, because I believe there were other women who were hiding just like I was, who was hurting on the inside, but on the outside, you would never be able to tell, because when we show up, we look amazing. But deep down on the inside, we're broken. And so I believe that women can go from being broken to unbreakable if they are just willing to do the work.
Yes, I totally agree. So what does that process look like in Unstoppable Confidence?
And so literally it's getting up every day and reminding yourself that you have everything you need. And so that every no is the next step to a yes. And every no does not mean that's a stop sign. That just means that's a pause, because maybe you're on the wrong route and you need to reroute and pivot and go a different direction, right? But we look at it, like you said, as every no is like a whole stop to our lives. And we have to be careful that we don't allow, perfection to paralyze us. And so all too often we get into this perfection mode where we have to have everything together before we can even take a step. But no, take the step and then get everything together along the journey, because you don't have all the answers. It's going to evolve. Every day we're growing into becoming someone different. Right? Someone better than the day before. You should never be trying to be better than, I'm not trying to be better than you. right?
Mhm.
Tracy,
Right.
I'm trying to be a better version of me.
Right.
And so we need to every day wake up and remind ourselves that you are like, how often do we look in the mirror and tell ourselves, you're amazing. You
Mhm.
have everything you need. Girl, you got this. Girl,
Mhm.
you unstoppable. Girl, don't let anything shake you today. And then
Mhm.
when it does, go back to the mirror and say, did you forget that you said that you was unshakable? Did you
Mhm.
forget that you had all the power on the inside of you? Did you
Mhm.
forget that you had everything you need? See, we got to keep going back and reminding ourselves. An unstoppable confidence comes from within, but it is a constant reminder of you remembering who you are and whose
Mhm.
you
I agree with that. That constant reminder, telling yourself affirmations every day.
are.
So I was telling people, there are a lot of people who say, "Oh, you make this look so easy." Again, I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
This is not easy for me. This is just something I feel like I've been called to do. I have a way of being able to talk to people and getting information out of them and disseminating information. I'm a teacher to the core, right? My whole job is to educate and inform. So I've found out through trial and process, there are many different mediums for education. It's not just in the classroom.
Absolutely.
When I stopped teaching, I was just like, oh, well, that's it. And as I've gone along my entrepreneurship journey, I've realized that teaching is not just in the classroom, in four walls. It can happen on so many different platforms and in so many different ways. And for me to get up here every morning and do this, I have to tell myself affirmations. As I'm in the bathroom
Absolutely.
getting ready, I'm like, you can do this. You got the confidence for this. You got this. Like over and over and over again. Like I hype myself up. Like I'm my own hype man.
Yeah.
I literally have to hype myself up to get here and do this for 30 minutes or an hour every day. But that's that unstoppable confidence because I cannot allow that inner voice because that inner voice is there all the time telling me, "Oh,
Yes.
what are you doing? You
That
better go back to
negative
bed."
self-chatter.
It's too early in the morning. It's there. And you just have to be able to, like you said, talk yourself into whatever it is that you want to do because it's easy to stop.
Mhm.
Stopping is easy. That's the easy
Yes.
part. Going is
Yes.
the hard part. The hard part. Yeah.
Yes. It's easy. And I think that it's leading up to also is saying, listen, at the end of the day, you have to finishing is, I mean, starting is great,
Mhm.
but the true reward is in finishing what you
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
And so some of us are afraid to even start.
Mhm.
Most of us get in the start and don't get to the finish because we give up right before the breakthrough. Like we give up right before we were going to cross that amazing pivot in our life. We just stop right before, and I'm like, oh, if they only knew the greatness that's waiting, right?
Right.
That like if we would just be willing to stop peeking and
Mhm.
jump and look over, like
Mhm.
everything is waiting for us. But again, that negative self chatter will tap our mind
Mhm.
constantly, and try and be that reminder. And so of who you were, and you have to even remind yourself, you remember who I was, but you don't know who I am.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that because I know that a lot of times, even as people, we tend to judge others on who they were and not realizing that we're humans, we're round characters. We evolve over
Yes,
time. I could have been a really bad person in my past, but it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person now.
that's
You
right.
know what I mean? I have grown, I have gone through many things. I can change. And the same goes for other people. Some people start off as really nice people, and life, the struggles that they go through turn them into bad characters. But
Absolutely.
it's a process we have to go through in our lives, and we have to take people as they come and give them the support that they need to get to the next level. That's kind of how I
Absolutely.
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get into the next level because, and I know that for women, we tend to think a lot about what others think about us.
Hmm. And what others' next level look like. Your
Yeah.
next level doesn't look. My next level doesn't look like Tracy's next level.
Yeah.
And when you position yourself to only create your level based on someone else's level, you're selling yourself short. Because your level could be so much greater. But if all you're focused on is that level that someone else is at, you're going to miss the level that you've been called to be at.
Right. Right. So when you started your entrepreneurship journey, I don't know what it was like. Well, I can tell you based on stories I've heard from other women. It's more like there's someone else in your circle who's probably doing something similar to what you're doing. And it feels like you're competing against the other person. Maybe that person stops talking to you, or they get a little cold with you, or it seems like they're mimicking everything that you do. Was that something that you go through? Is that something that you find a lot of women come to you and probably not complain, but have concerns about?
So I'm always I'm a strong believer that there are going to be people that are doing what you're doing, but they'll never do it like you do it. Right. And so people will say, as an international speaker, people will always say, oh my God, are you intimidated by the people who go before you, or who's going to come after you? I said, absolutely not, because they have never rocked the stage like I have. They don't know my story, and they can't share my story the way I share my story. So I am not intimidated by what they will get up there and say or do, because they are not me. I am uniquely who I am. My story is uniquely assigned to me, and they cannot tell it the way I can tell it.
Right.
And so we have to understand that our gifts are uniquely for us. So regardless of whether you're doing the same exact thing, it will never be the same impact. It will never be the same results. And it will never, ever have the same capacity and drive that you have, because they're doing it and walking in their purpose, and you're doing it and walking in your purpose. And both of us are called to a different purpose.
Oh, I like that. That's powerful. And that's what I was telling someone yesterday when I had a phone call with a lady, and she mentioned someone, and I was like, oh yes, I know them. And she was like, oh, are you guys competitors? I said, no, we're not. She said, but you guys do the same thing. I said, yeah, we actually collaborate a lot on a lot of the things that we do, or a good bit, because we are grown women and we know that there's enough space in this entrepreneurship journey for both of us to exist independently and collaboratively together. It doesn't always have to be a competition.
Absolutely.
You can collaborate with people, even if they're in the exact same industry.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's a scarcity mindset amongst women, and not sure where that started, where that developed, and why it continues. But we need to, if we would just come together, we would be such a powerful force to reckon with. And so just because someone does what you do does not mean that you can't come together, because the bandwidth of who you are individually is great, but the bandwidth of who you are collectively together is phenomenal.
Exactly.
And so you can reach more people than you could have ever reached doing it alone. And so we have to understand that it is okay. I always say, if you win alone, you win it for no reason. So if you get to the top of your mountain and you there by yourself, that was a wasted journey. Because why didn't you go back and reach and pull another sister up with you?
Oh, wow. I like that. That was good. If you reach to the top by yourself, that's a wasted journey, because you were supposed to bring other people along with you. That's powerful. I love that. Yeah, because I totally believe in that. I believe in giving back. If you have knowledge, you should share that knowledge. You should share that process with other people. And that's what this show is about, sharing the process of entrepreneurship. Like we talked about on the phone, I want to de-romanticize entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Far too often, everybody sees the end result of where we are now, but they're not seeing the struggles that we had to get to that point, right? So do you want to tell us of some struggles you had? So you left education, not by will, but because of budget cuts. And then you decided, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. What were your struggles along the way?
And I just want to add to that too, is we have to be careful not to get so focused on where someone is today that you forget the journey that they've traveled to get to there today. And so for me, I always tell women who are in my tribe or follow me, listen, don't envy where I am, because I promise you, you don't know if you are willing to carry my load that I've carried to get to where I am. And so literally, it has not always been easy. Entrepreneurship is a hard thing, because there are some great months financially, and there are some non-financial months. And then there's some in the middle financial months. And then there's some times where things are shifting and changing in the entrepreneurial world so fast. You worry about, can you keep up? Yeah. And so are you willing to pivot when the market pivots? Are you willing to change when social media changes? So there are so many variables that go through this whole journey that you have to stay abreast to. being able to invest in yourself, right? In the very beginning, I didn't feel like, okay, investing was, we were told, as African Americans, oh, don't be paying to go to conferences and doing all of those things. And so in the beginning, I didn't do all those things. But then when I realized, I'm thinking I'm playing all out, and I get in a room with some movers and shakers and realize, girl, you've been playing small way too long. It's time to up level. And so literally I had to level up. I see Erin saying level up. And so we have to make sure that we are not afraid to share that there are some great times. I don't feel unstoppable every day. But listen, you got to know that there's some days that I struggle too, and I have to go back and remind myself. See, everybody is trying to show you the glimpse of what a piece of their life looks like on social media. But you need to know that there's some behind the scenes that they are truly not showing. Those sleepless nights, those crying nights, those tired nights when they are up working when the world is asleep. Right. And when they thought they were getting in this entrepreneurial journey because they wanted to be able to create their own hours, and their hours become extensive hours. Right. Come on, somebody, because, you got to keep on making the money. And so you are continuously mind rolling every day, all day, with ideas dropping in your spirit. And so here's the deal. It is not easy, but it is a journey well worth the travel if you're willing to put in the work.
Yes, I love that. It is. It's some sleepless nights. And I had one of those sleepless nights on Sunday. I had deadlines. When you procrastinate on getting your stuff done and the deadline is coming up, you have no choice but to get it done because that is your job. Okay. Good morning, Deanne.
Good morning.
That is your job, is to get it done. And I know that a lot of times, like you said, a lot of people go into entrepreneurship thinking that, oh, I own my own time. I own my own hours. I take vacations whenever I want to. And yes, that is true to some extent. But if you're not making the money on a consistent basis, how are you going to take that vacation?
Absolutely.
If you have a ton of clients and you don't have an assistant, or you don't have subcontractors to get the work done, then that work falls all squarely on you. So now you've gone from working a 40-hour-a-week job to working 80 hours,
Absolutely. And we learned the hard way as entrepreneurs. Like we forget, we try and do it all. Right? We try and be do it all entrepreneurs. And I learned that the hard way. I had to realize, listen, outsource what you're not great at because you wasted too much time trying to become great at it.
Right.
So that's a nugget for, you can lead it live now for that. Somebody is already doing that. Like, listen, outsource what you're not great at and stop trying to be great at everything. You got to be willing to invest back in your business.
You do.
And so if you don't, you're not a business.
No.
And so get your business in order. Like, right, most people don't have get your business affairs in order. You have to have a business account. You have to be a registered business. You have to have everything done so that you can run your business like a successful business and not be an entre hobby. Okay. Because you're not a real entrepreneur if you're not registered. You don't have a registered business account. So don't be an entre hobby. Get yourself in order. And so we need to make sure that we're doing that.
Yes. And that can take us right into the next segue, is that I think a lot of people are beginning to realize they had an entre hobby, like you said, right now, because applying for the PPP or any other type of government assistance for their business, they don't have the documents to present to the bank to get what they need.
Absolutely.
Some of them haven't been filing their Schedule Cs. They've just been filing a regular 1040 EZ or 1040, or they've never done profit and loss statements. They don't have a business bank account. It's a mess.
Yes.
So the question that I'm getting asked at this point in time, I'm like, this is why you need a business consultant.
Yes.
Stop trying to DIY your business.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes.
It's costing you an arm and a leg to DIY your business. Even as a nonprofit consultant and business consultant, I still have a consultant because I don't know everything.
Absolutely.
I just don't.
Absolutely. Even as a coach for women, I have a coach. Like, you can't listen, you shouldn't even be hiring somebody else who don't have a coach, but they trying to coach you. And
Yeah.
you shouldn't be paying somebody in an investment that they haven't invested in yourself. There's too many people trying to charge people prices that they've not even been willing to invest in themselves.
I was just about to
So
say
how
that.
is that possible that you can ask someone else for a certain amount of money and you
Right.
haven't invested that amount of money in your own self? So do you really believe in you? Because you're asking someone else to do that. And
Right.
so we really you have to have a bookkeeper and an accountant,
Mhm.
or they could be the same person, but you
Yeah.
have to get your business affairs in order because, again, this is a wake up call to, again, those who have been entre hobbies.
Mhm.
And so this pandemic has truly allowed you to see that you don't have things in order.
Yeah.
And so what are you willing to do differently now that you know, right?
Mhm.
Because when you know better, you do better. The problem is, are you willing to do better now that you know? See, that's the
Right.
question you're going to have to ask yourself. Are you going to be willing to do better? See, I tell my clients all the time, once you get this knowledge, are you
Mhm.
going to implement it? Because I can give it to you all day, but if you ain't willing to do the work and you ain't willing to implement the action steps, it's just that. It's just knowledge. It's just information. And then you
Mhm.
become an information hoarder. Come
Yeah.
on, right? We got a lot of hobby or entrepreneurs who are hoarders of information. You got
Mhm.
all these notebooks filled with information and you ain't put no action to none of the stuff in there. Pause. Stop going to every conference. Stop
Mhm.
going to every coach and implement action items that you've already learned that you didn't do anything with.
Right. Right. And that is the truth. A lot of people out here, information hoarders. That's all they do is hoard information, and
Yep.
there's no action behind it.
Yeah.
I have had to fire clients because of it, because they don't have that. We go back again to what it is, confidence. They don't have the confidence within themselves to get it done. And I don't want you to pay me just for paying
Oh,
me. I
absolutely.
need you to actually do the work that
Yeah.
we're talking, because you're wasting my time, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting your money if you're not willing to implement.
Absolutely.
Implementing is the next step. That is why we do anything that we're doing, because you have to implement. That's how you get to success.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
I'll get women who will, because I do the coaching with the women for the confidence coaching and the Unstoppable Woman movement, and I'm also a publisher, so it's Unstoppable at Publishing. And so,
Okay.
literally, at people will come to me and say they want to write this book, and I'm saying, are you committed to it?
Mhm.
Or did you just hear someone say that you should write a book? Because
Right.
there's a difference.
Yes.
It takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes you believing in who you are, because most of the time they're telling their story. And so
Mhm.
are you really ready to get raw? Because
Mhm.
that's what it requires.
Mhm.
And so literally, and that's just in a facet of everything. When you come to someone, are you really ready to do the work? Are you really ready to put the action into what it is you're asking someone to assist you or educate you or inspire you to do? Are
Right.
you really ready to put in the work? And that's what we have to ask ourselves in this season,
Mhm.
a pivot that
Mhm.
we're all going through. Are you really ready to do the work? Are you ready to get into a different position so that if this ever happens again, you're prepared, you're equipped, and you're ready to ride the wave?
Yes, exactly. So if you had to give women three high points of what they should do to pivot currently and build confidence within themselves to get it done and get to the next level, what would those three things be?
I would say definitely working on your mind, right?
Mhm.
What are you going to do to really work on your mind? And that is to start believing in that you have what it takes. And then, most importantly, writing it down, right?
Yeah.
It says write the vision and make it plain. Make it
Mhm.
very plain and
Mhm.
simple and put it somewhere that you can see. So I know everybody do the whole vision boards. I'm not a vision board person. I do
Neither am I.
mind mapping with my clients. And so I believe that when you can visually see it, it can come to pass. And
Mhm.
so you have to literally map it out and put it out and place it out. Then
Mhm.
you have to then take that, say, that, okay, now that I know what I need to do and what I want to do, I need
Mhm.
to actually hold myself accountable to taking these action steps and
Mhm.
then put dates to the action steps, right? And what does that look like for you? How
Mhm.
is that going to play out for your business, whatever that might be, or whatever project it might be? And then when you get into that space, you got to really own who you are. Oh my goodness, most people don't own who they are. Listen, you are great. Be unapologetic about being great. You have been gifted to do multiple things. Be unapologetic. Stop letting people put you in a box. Color all outside the lines. I am great at some
I
amazing
love
things.
it.
Listen, I can coach
Yeah.
a woman, I can publish a book with
Yeah.
my eyes closed,
Yeah.
and then I can turn around and help a high school family get into college and get all the money they can get so that they can go for free. I am great at what I do. Don't be a master of many that you're not a master of any. And so I have mastered the things I'm great at. And stop allowing people to hold you hostage to what they believe you should do because they are fearful of doing multiple things. As long as you got multiple things and you release them to the world. And listen, I say all the time, sound the alarm on your greatness and be unapologetic.
Oh my God. I absolutely love that because I find, like I said before, people keep trying to put me in this box and I don't want to be in the box.
That's right.
I've always been a disruptor.
That's right.
And I don't want you to place me in a box. Like you said, I am a master of everything I tell you I can do. I'm not a Girl Friday. I have mastered it. I am a nonprofit specialist. I am an educator. I am an English language arts educator, and I have a publishing company where I help people to either ghostwrite their books or I edit and proofread their books.
Absolutely.
Why can't I do all three of these? And then now I have this show. Why can't I do it?
Right.
Who are you to tell me that I need to be in this box and this is my place and that's the only place I can be? I'm not dabbling. I have mastered these skills.
Absolutely.
Right? I absolutely love that.
But people will allow the world to scare them out of those dreams, right? Yeah. Are you willing to let the world tell you how you should dream? Or are you willing to dream the way God is destined you to dream? Because he dreams a bigger dream for us every time. We the ones with these little small dreams. When he's like, girl, I got big size dreams for you. I'm just waiting for you to step into those dreams. Yeah. Like I'm waiting for you to be a rule breaker, right? I break all rules, right? And so I say that again to say, here's the deal. You got to know what you're great at. And be unapologetic about telling people what you're great at. You cannot be an entrepreneur if don't nobody know what you do.
Mm-hmm. You got to talk. You got to say it out loud.
You got to share it, right? You got to sound the alarm on what you're great at. So today, post on your social media what you're great at. Right. Stop waiting. Stop expecting people to imagine what you do, right? And stop letting people come to your page and then they can't see what you do. Right? If you're gonna come to my stage, you're gonna get the witness that I'm a mic dropper when I get on stage. You're gonna see that. You're gonna see all the books I've helped people publish. You're going to see those things. You're going to see all the students I've helped in the past. So here's the deal. Do people know who you are, what you are, and what you do?
Right. I like that.
Or are you a best kept secret?
Like when you're not having customers, then you're wondering why you're not having customers because nobody knows what you do.
Absolutely.
No one knows what you do. Absolutely. So I saw that in the last part of your bio, you talked about you help women show up authentically. You help them to be visible.
Absolutely.
So that's perfect right there. Get on your social media page today and let everyone know what it is that you do and how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid, right? We're afraid. Don't be afraid. Oh my gosh, get out there and start bragging. Listen, if you don't celebrate you, then why do you expect anybody else to?
Right.
See, that's what we have to remember. We are so busy celebrating everybody else. And I'm a victim of that sometimes myself. I have to remind myself, girl, if you don't stop celebrating everybody else for a minute and celebrate you, you got to celebrate who you are and reward yourself for doing great things. We so pass over our greatness. Like we can do something amazing and we keep right on going.
I think that we have been conditioned to think that celebrating ourselves is being self-centered or selfish. So a lot of people tend not to do it because they don't want to seem like they're self-absorbed. Well, but patting yourself on the back every now, and I had to learn that. And I find too, and I'm sure that you've seen this a lot because you deal with women and building their confidence, is have you ever been in a room where someone walks in, a lady walks in and the other women in the room say, oh my God, that lipstick is so cute on you, or oh, I like your outfit. And she's like, oh no, this is nothing. You know, like she really tries to play it down. And I get so upset when I hear women do that, because to me, it shows me a lack of self-confidence. And I'm just like, just say thank you.
Yes. And I think we've all been in that space before. Yeah. And it's a learned, it's a behavior we have to unlearn. right? And
Mhm.
so because we don't want to outshine someone else. And see, that's what it really boils down to.
Yeah.
And I used to be that woman who I didn't want to outshine everyone else. So I
Mhm.
get up there and I get on stage and I'll give like 90%. I'll say, I ain't gonna give 100 because I don't want to outshine everybody. And listen, God had to remind me, I will take you down off of every stage if you don't give up and give 100%.
Mhm.
And so we have to be willing to shine our high beams. And if the other women are not willing to shine alongside us, that is not our problem. We are going to invite them to the table. They have to be willing to sit down at the table
Yeah,
with us.
exactly. Why is it that you think that so many women dim their light in front of others? Whether it's their husbands, other women, on their jobs, it just feels like they have to take a backseat. I was that person. I felt like I needed to play second fiddle. I
Mhm.
used to say I am the support beam. I am not the front of the house. So I'm the support inside the house. I'll help you in the back end, but I don't want to come out in the front. So like all of this is a big leap for me. And I didn't see my business grow until I decided I need to step in front
That's
of
it.
that house and stand up and say I own it and not be inside as a support beam because you're always going to be paying settle for those. So I would always be a subcontractor and not the contractor.
Mm.
I wasn't willing to step out in front.
Oh,
Why do you
absolutely.
think that we do that as women?
I think it's fear,
Here.
right? Of failing, fear of failing, right?
Okay.
And so, because if you're in the limelight and something happens, oh my gosh,
It's
all
all on you,
eyes are
right?
on you, right? And so, but you got to be so willing to be authentically who you are. And that means you're not perfect. That means you don't get it right every time. But what you
Mhm.
do is you are true to who you are.
Right.
And you are vulnerable enough to say, this is where I am, and this is where I'm going, and this is in preparation for where I will one day become. And
Okay.
so you have to be okay with stepping forward and not being afraid that if you step forward, a lot of times we're afraid of our own greatness, right? How
Right.
great we could possibly be because so much is given, much is required. We got to remember that too.
It's a lot of
And so it's a
responsibility.
lot of responsibility.
Mhm.
And so when you could be the anchor, right?
Mhm.
But you got to be careful of who you're anchoring because sometimes you're not meant to be the anchor and you're actually meant to be the whole, so if you're if everybody's on that boat and you're trying to be the anchor, you're just sitting in the wrong spot, then the whole boat sinks because
Yes.
you're not willing to take your position. So
Mhm.
you got to step into your position and and show up in your power, like literally step in your position and show up in your power. Because if not, you will not only bring you down, but you'll bring everybody else down that's connected to you.
Wow. I never even thought about it that way. Honestly, I just thought if you're playing the support role, then that person is able to live in their greatness, and
Because
you're playing the
then
position that you're supposed to be playing.
that's that comfort, right?
Right.
Because when you step into your role, there's people assigned to you, but they can't get to you because you won't step into your role. So you letting Regina play her role, but Tracy ain't pay. Tracy's supposed to be in her role because then there's so many people attached to Tracy. There's
Mhm.
some attached to Regina, but the ones who are attached to Tracy are with Regina, but they supposed to be with Tracy. But
Oh.
Tracy won't step into her role. Tracy won't step into position. So all of those women who are assigned to Tracy are now left behind
Huh.
because they're not assigned to Regina. They're assigned to Tracy.
Never thought about it that way either.
And so we got to take ownership because there are people assigned to us.
Right. So if we're not stepping into our own glory, we're actually keeping other people from stepping into theirs.
Absolutely. So while you hiding in the background, there's a woman who needs you to step into position, or there's a man that's hiding in the background. There's a man that needs you to step into position.
Mhm.
And so until you step up, they can't get what they need because it's attached to you gaining what you starting what you need to start.
Right. So I had someone prophesy on me, and I'm not into that. So I always take it as like, "Ugh, what are you telling me? Like, this doesn't even make sense to me." But I took it with a grain of salt. But a lot of the things that this person has prophesied have actually started to come through, and I'm like, is it coming through because she told me, or is it coming through because it was supposed to happen?
Well,
Like, am I manifesting it, or is it,
here's the deal. So sometimes God has to come to us and speak through other people
Mhm.
because we're not listening as he tries to tell it to us. And so when he reveals it to us, he will give you the steps to
Mhm.
manifest it in the action. The problem is most of us never get to reap that because we plant, we
Mhm.
water, and then we jump ship before we reap the harvest.
Yeah.
And so, or we get stuck in planting season and we forget to go back and water. So everything that you planted requires you to water it. And you can't just water it for one day and think that it's going to harvest. You got to continuously keep watering it. And so we are a microwave society where we think the world is just going to give us everything right at that moment. No, it's going to take planting and watering. And so some of us are in our watering season right now. But if we jump ship during this watering, we'll never reach harvest. And so you got to decide, are you in planting? Are you in watering, or are you about to step into your harvest season? That's for you to get into alignment with so that you can figure out which one it is.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. So if you want to get in contact with Regina, again, you can do so by going to reginarobinsonspeaks.com, and you can follow her on social media at Regina R Speaks. And she has just dropped, I can't even say this is nuggets. These are diamonds today. For you to get your mind right, get your life right, get your business right. Because I do believe if your life isn't right, your business isn't going to be right, because they intersect with one another. If you're having some issues with a self-confidence, maybe it's not manifesting in the way you dress. Like she said, the outer shell may look confident, it may be beautiful, but inside you have that self-doubt that just keeps, it's like a gnawing sound, in like a what is it called? A mosquito just gnawing at you, and you cannot propel to the next level. Then you need to get in contact with Regina and get the counseling that you need to move past that and move into your greatness, move into your success. Absolutely. Any last words you want to leave the audience with, Regina?
So I would just leave everyone with, here's the deal. It won't always be perfect. It won't always turn out the way you want it to turn out. But if you're willing to stay the course, if you're willing to believe in you, if you're willing to unleash the champion in you and become the greatness that's destined, and will embrace the greatness that's destined for you, I promise you on the other side is far greater than what you've been experiencing. But you've got to be willing to get to the top. And remember, as you climb to the top, don't do it alone. Reach back and bring another sister up with you or another brother up with you so that they can win. If we win alone, we win it for no reason. And so continue to stay the journey, continue to stay the course. And in the end, God will bless you.
Right. And don't allow anyone to put you in a box.
Yes. And start coloring all outside the lines and sound the alarm as of today. There is no hiding.
So we want everybody to go on social media. Everybody who's listening right now. Is there a hashtag you want them to put?
I always do hashtag Unstoppable Woman on the Move is my hashtag, and the woman is with an A. So Unstoppable Woman on the Move. I mean, they can join me in the Unstoppable Woman Circle. Also, that's a private Facebook group for women.
Okay. All right. So go out there, let everyone know exactly who you are and what you do. You have to sound the alarm on your greatness. All right. This was great. I absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone who joined us for morning tea this morning. You can join us again on Monday. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, unless something happens. So make sure you share, share, and subscribe, and go join Regina. You can reach out to her. Her information is still on the screen. And thank you again, everyone who has joined us this morning.
Thank you.